Have you ever noticed how you react to small things and wonder, where did that come from? Maybe your voice gets tense during disagreements, or you apologize too quickly, or you feel guilty for resting even when you deserve it. Perhaps you hesitate to ask for help when you really need it, or praise feels unfamiliar, almost like it wasn't meant for you. In those quiet moments, you realize you're not reacting as the adult you've become. You're reacting as the child you once were. Most people don't say this out loud, but our childhood isn't something we outgrow. It's something we grow around. Like a tree shaped by the wind in its early years, we carry the form of our earliest seasons for the rest of our lives. Even as we change and evolve, that early shaping stays with us, quietly influencing everything. Our relationships, our confidence, our fears, our dreams, our habits, our emotional patterns, and even our sense of who we are. It starts earlier than we realize. Experts say that by age 7, the basic blueprint of our emotional world is already forming, not finished, but taking shape like soft clay. And the hands that mold it aren't just the people around us, parents, teachers, caregivers. They're also the moments, the tone of a room, the way someone looked at us on a difficult day, or the way someone didn't look at us when we needed them most. The things said with love, the things said without thinking, and the things never said at all. Childhood is full of firsts we barely remember but never truly forget. The first time you felt safe, the first time you felt ignored, the first time someone raised their voice, the first time someone calmed you down, the first time you were told you were capable, the first time someone made you feel small. Your brain recorded all of it long before you understood what any of it meant. And here's something many people overlook. Childhood doesn't just shape how we see the world, it shapes how we expect the world to treat us. It becomes the lens, the quiet prediction, the internal script running in the background. If you grew up with encouragement, you probably walk into rooms believing you belong there. If you grew up with criticism, you may enter those same rooms already expecting to fail. If you grew up around calm voices, your body might naturally stay steady under pressure. But if you grew up where tension was normal, your body may still hold that tension today, even when there's no reason for it. That's the thing about childhood. It doesn't ask for permission to stay with you, it just does. So much of adulthood becomes this strange puzzle of trying to understand why certain things feel heavier than they should, why rejection hurts more than expected, why silence feels uncomfortable, why you overthink simple decisions, why you attach too quickly or never fully attach at all, why letting go feels unsafe, why achieving something still doesn't feel like enough, why love feels complicated even when it's healthy, why you can't relax unless everything around you is perfect, or why part of you feels like you're still proving something to someone who hasn't been in your life for years. People often say adults are just older children. While that sounds poetic, it's actually grounded in psychology. The brain develops quickly in childhood, and the patterns created during those years become mental shortcuts. Your mind uses them because they're familiar, not necessarily because they're helpful. Childhood becomes the foundation of our emotional instincts. The reason you shut down during arguments, the reason you replay conversations in your head, the reason you hesitate to trust, or the reason you trust too easily, it all comes from somewhere. Think about it. If a child grows up in a home where love is shown through actions, not words, they might feel uncomfortable when someone expresses affection verbally. Not because they don't appreciate it, but because they were never taught how to receive it. If a child grows up needing to earn affection through achievements, good behavior, or perfect performance, they may come to believe that love is conditional. Even as adults, they may strive to earn approval, validation, or connection, not realizing they're following an old script created by a younger self who didn't know any better. And if someone grew up around unpredictability, mood swings, sudden shifts, or unstable energy, they may become adults who are always on alert, always scanning, always anticipating what could go wrong. Not because they want to, but because their nervous system learned early that safety isn't guaranteed. Even if life becomes peaceful later, their body may not believe it. Childhood teaches the body how to feel before the mind learns how to think. That early emotional education becomes the template the mind uses for decades. You might think you're choosing your patterns, but most of the time your patterns are choosing you. This is why two people can hear the same sentence and interpret it completely differently. It's not the sentence, it's the childhood behind the ears hearing it. Childhood shapes how we love, how we communicate, how we react to conflict, how we recover from disappointment, how we handle uncertainty, how we accept affection, how we push people away. It even shapes the way we talk to ourselves. The inner voice in adulthood is often the echo of the voices you heard growing up, especially the repetitive ones. If a child grew up hearing encouragement, that becomes their inner voice. But if a child grew up hearing doubt, negativity, or impatience, that voice doesn't just disappear. It becomes internalized. Without realizing it, adults often end up treating themselves the way someone else once treated them. And here's something even more fascinating. Research shows that children don't just learn from behavior, they absorb the emotional climate of their home. If you grew up around stress, even if no one explained what was happening, your body still felt it. Years later, you may wonder why your shoulders tense up when things get quiet, or why your mind races when life slows down, or why calm feels both inviting and unfamiliar. It's because your body learned to adapt to a world that didn't always make sense. That adaptation became your personality, your coping style, your emotional default settings. Some people learn to become the peacemaker, the one who avoids conflict because conflict never felt safe. Some learn to become the performer, the one who tries to be impressive because that's how they earned attention. Some become the helper, the one who puts everyone else's needs first because their worth was tied to usefulness. Others become the quiet observer, the one who hides because being seen felt risky. And some grow up trying to fix everything because fixing things used to keep the peace. These roles feel natural in adulthood, but they started as survival strategies in childhood. Strategies created by a version of you that didn't have many options. Strategies that worked back then but may not serve you now. Perhaps the most complicated part is this. Childhood doesn't just shape the soft parts of you. It shapes your goals, your ambition, your fear of failing, your desire to prove something to yourself, to others, or even to a ghost from the past. Some people chase success not because they want it, but because the child in them still wants to be seen. Some chase perfection not because they enjoy it, but because mistakes once felt costly. Some avoid risks not because they're incapable, but because they learned early that taking risks leads to disappointment. And some people stay small, quiet, or hidden because being visible felt unsafe. Childhood becomes the invisible map behind your adult decisions, but childhood also shapes the beautiful parts of you. Your imagination, your resilience, your ability to see wonder in small things, your empathy, your way of noticing details others miss. Your sensitivity, which is not a weakness, it's a sign that you felt deeply as a child and learned to understand emotions in ways others often can't. If you ever wondered why you care so much, why you sense the mood of a room instantly, why you feel things intensely, it's because your emotional radar was built early and became one of your strongest tools. People often underestimate how deeply childhood molds identity because childhood feels so far away, but it's always present in the way you pause before speaking, in the way you check with yourself before trusting someone, in the way you crave reassurance but rarely ask for it, in the way you open up slowly, cautiously, in the way certain compliments make you emotional because they reach parts of you that were never acknowledged. In the way you worry about being a burden, in the way you struggle to say no because no wasn't always allowed, in the way you over-explain yourself trying to avoid misunderstanding. These aren't random behaviors. They are chapters from a book you started writing long before you could hold a pen. Sometimes the most unexpected part of growing up is realizing that your adult reactions are actually outdated protective mechanisms. You might avoid expressing your needs not because you don't have them, but because the child in you learned that expressing needs didn't change anything. You might overwork not because you love productivity, but because the child in you believed rest must be earned. You might stay in situations longer than you should, not because you lack strength, but because stability, even when imperfect, felt better than unpredictability. And you might find it hard to accept help because independence became your only reliable friend. But none of this means you're broken. It means you adapted, you survived, you learned how to navigate a world you didn't choose. Those early lessons shaped you in ways that helped you make sense of things. They carried you through loneliness, uncertainty, confusion, and all the moments where you felt small in a world too big to understand. You are not weak because childhood shaped you. You are human because it did. Sometimes the hardest part is realizing just how many of your adult struggles aren't signs of failure. They're echoes of things you never had the language to express, echoes of moments you didn't know were shaping you. Echoes of lessons you learned in order to feel safe, accepted, or simply less alone. You might think you're bad at relationships when the truth is that you were never taught what healthy communication looks like. You might think you're too sensitive when in reality you grew up in an environment where sensitivity was necessary for survival. You might think you're lazy, but the truth is you only feel productive when you're overwhelmed because chaos was the rhythm you grew up with. And you might believe your dreams are too big when all along you just never had someone telling you they were possible. It's strange how early experiences become internal truths. If you grew up with someone constantly pointing out your flaws, those flaws became loud even in silence. If you grew up with unpredictable love, warm one day, cold the next, you learned to chase affection and blame yourself for its absence. If you grew up around conflict, your body may feel unsafe even when someone simply raises their voice in excitement. If you grew up being compared, you might compare yourself to everyone without realizing it's not a choice, it's a reflex. And if you grew up feeling like you had to be the responsible one, the calm one, the strong one, or the one who never makes mistakes, chances are you still carry that silent pressure into adulthood, even when no one is asking you to. But here's the part that surprises people the most. Childhood doesn't just shape the emotional world, it shapes the brain physically. The neural pathways formed during those years become the familiar roads your mind travels later. Patterns of fear, patterns of trust, patterns of attachment, they're all influenced by what you saw, what you heard, and how you were made to feel. Even now, as an adult, you may find yourself responding to situations with an intensity that doesn't match the moment. Not because you're dramatic or unreasonable, but because your mind is using old information to interpret new experiences. The child in you is still at the wheel sometimes, hoping to protect you with the only tools they had. You might wonder why certain people make you nervous even when they haven't done anything wrong, why certain compliments make you emotional, why you freeze when someone asks what you need, why you feel guilty when you finally put yourself first, why you feel unprepared even when you've worked hard, why love feels both comforting and scary, why being misunderstood hurts more than you like to admit. These are not random emotional reactions, they are memories disguised as instincts. Childhood doesn't stay in the past. But here's the twist people often overlook. The fact that childhood shaped you does not mean it controls you. Awareness is the point where the past stops being the author and becomes a reference. Once you begin to notice the patterns, you start to see the difference between who you were shaped to be and who you actually are beneath all of it. You start to see the quiet strength hidden behind your fear. You start to see the resilience that kept you alive during years you didn't understand. You start to see that some of your greatest strengths were born from your earlier struggles. If you are empathetic, it's because you learned to feel deeply. If you're observant, it's because you had to pay attention. If you're strong, it's because you had no choice. And if you're gentle, it's because you knew the cost of harshness. Childhood shapes you, but it doesn't define the full story. There comes a moment when you realize you're no longer that child. You have more knowledge now, more tools, more voice, more choices. The walls that once felt unbreakable begin to look like paper. The fears that once felt permanent begin to feel like signals, not sentences. And even though the past is loud, adulthood gives you the power to respond differently than you once could. You begin to understand that healing is not about erasing childhood, but about re-educating the parts of you that are still caught there. You teach yourself what safety feels like. You teach yourself what love sounds like. You teach yourself how to rest without guilt. You teach yourself that saying no doesn't make you unworthy. You teach yourself that mistakes don't cancel your value. You teach yourself that you can choose relationships that don't resemble old wounds. And slowly, the child inside you begins to trust the adult you're becoming. Healing often begins in the smallest moments. The moments where you pause before reacting. The moments where you notice a familiar feeling but choose a different response. The moments where you tell yourself what you wish someone told you years ago. The moments where you allow yourself to feel things you suppressed for too long. The moments where you breathe through discomfort instead of running from it. Healing isn't dramatic, it's quiet, it's slow. It's the gentle rewiring of emotional habits formed in years you barely remember. It's the process of becoming the person you needed when you were young. But one of the hardest parts of adulthood is unlearning the beliefs childhood left behind. Beliefs like I need to earn love, or I need to be perfect to be accepted, or my needs are too much, or people always leave, or I shouldn't ask for help, or I'm not enough. These beliefs weren't born from truth. They were born from context. They were born from experiences you didn't choose. And yet they stayed with you, shaping your decisions and expectations, often in ways that limit your growth. The good news is that beliefs are not facts. They are impressions, and impressions can be rewired with awareness and practice. You start by questioning the story, not aggressively, not with judgment, but with curiosity. You start asking yourself, is this feeling coming from my current reality or from something much older? Is this fear protecting me or controlling me? Is this reaction about the present moment or about something I wasn't allowed to express back then? When you ask these questions gently without blame, you allow your mind to separate the past from the present. And that separation creates emotional space where healing can finally occur. One of the most surprising realizations people have is that sometimes the things they once believed were weaknesses were actually adaptive strengths. The tendency to overthink was once your way of staying safe. The habit of people-pleasing was once your way of keeping peace. The fear of conflict was once your way of avoiding chaos. The desire to prove yourself was once your way of feeling worthy in environments that didn't offer unconditional support. The caution in your heart was once your way of surviving emotional unpredictability. You didn't choose these traits. They were your mind's best attempt to care for you, and understanding that helps you stop fighting yourself and start guiding yourself, because guidance is what you needed all along, not punishment, not shame, not pressure. You needed someone to tell you your feelings mattered, that your fears made sense, that your dreams weren't unrealistic, that your voice wasn't too small, that mistakes didn't mean you were a disappointment. Some people grow up hearing these things. Others grow up learning them on their own much later. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more insights like this. If you found value in this, please give it a like and share it with someone who might need to hear it too. Your support helps bring more meaningful content to life. With you, consider subscribing for more insights like this. If you found value in this, please give it a like and share it with someone who might need to hear it too. Your support helps bring more meaningful content to life.